Hey everybody, welcome back to Board Together Games. This time we're going to be taking a look at a really cool micro game from Seiji Kanai for 2 to 4 players called Love Letter. And we're also going to take a look at Love Letter's younger but bigger brother, Love Letter Premium. Let's get to the table and check out the review. Hello guys, my name is David.
I'm Jake.
I'm Ryan.
And we are Board Together Games. Our channel is designed for people who are new to the board gaming hobby and also for families. And we cater to those folks by doing board game reviews for games just like this one. This is Love Letter, and Love Letter is a game designed by Seiji Kanai. It is a Japanese designed game that was brought to North America by Alderac Entertainment Group, or AEG. It is for 2 to 4 players, and it is a social deduction micro game. And social deduction is kind of defined as a game where you are given limited information. You have your own secret information, and you are spending the game trying to figure out information about the other characters, whether it be their role or what they're holding, something to that effect. And you deduce that information by seeing other information that is out on the table in front of you, or simply by talking to other people and trying to figure out what's going on. A micro game is kind of just how it sounds. This is an example of a micro game. It is typically a game that has very few components. This one in particular has 18 cards, 13 cubes, or affection tokens, if you want to call them that, a couple of player aids, and a rule book. And that is it. All right, Jacob, tell us how to set up for Love Letter.
To set up Love Letter, you shuffle all the cards, then you discard a card face down and put it aside. Then you give one card to each player, and whoever you choose as first player gets a second card.
And then you can begin. That's right. So the game is played over a series of rounds. And in each round, the goal is fairly simple. You are vying for these affection tokens. And the way you do that is you either eliminate all of the other players, your opponents, or you are, at the end of the round, the player holding the highest valued card. So the cards are valued 1 through 8. And after the round ends, and the round will end after either every other player is eliminated or the draw deck is exhausted. As soon as someone draws the last card, they play out their turn. And that is it for the round. And if there are more than one person left in the round, you compare cards. Whoever has the highest value gets the affection token. So, speaking of turns, Ryan, why don't you tell us how a turn works, how the gameplay works?
On your turn, you draw a card. Pick one of the 2 cards that you have in your hand. Play one, and that triggers a special ability.
Yes, all the cards have a special ability, and we will go over those now. Each card in the game has a number value, as we mentioned before. They are valued 1 through 8. The value 1 card is the guard. There are 5 of those in the deck. And if you play a guard, what you do is you place it on the table, you choose another player, and you're basically guessing what character that person is holding, what card they're holding in their hand. You cannot guess another guard. That's the only stipulation. If you are correct, if I play a guard and I say, Ryan, I think you're a prince, and if I'm correct, he must discard that prince and he is eliminated from the round. If I am incorrect, then he just says no, and play continues clockwise around the table for the next player's turn. The priest is a value 2, and if you play him to the table, you simply look at another player's hand. The value 3 card is the Baron. If you play the Baron, you take the card that's left in your hand and you compare it with another player's hand secretly. And whoever has the lowest number value, has to discard their card, and they are eliminated from the round. The value 4 card is the Handmaid. There are 2 of them in the deck, and Jacob, what does the Handmaid do?
The Handmaiden lets you ignore all other effects from all other players until your next turn.
Yes. And the value 5 card is the Prince. There's 2 of those as well. Ryan, what does the Prince do?
The Prince makes any other person, including yourself, discard their hand and draw up to another card.
Yeah, so you can choose yourself as the target of the effect for the Prince, basically allowing you to get rid of maybe a bad card and draw a better one. This is pretty cool. So the value 6 is the king. There's only one of those. And if you play the king, you trade the card that you have left in your hand with another player. You're just swapping cards. The countess is number 7. No real special effect, but interestingly, if you have either the king or one of the princes as the other card in your hand when you draw the countess, or if you have the countess and you draw one of those, you have to discard the countess. That is the rule with that card. Number 8, the last card, is the princess, the highest value in the game. She automatically wins if somebody is holding her at the end of the round. But if you ever have to discard her for any other card effect, or if you're guessed as the princess from a guard effect, then you are out of the round. And that is how all the cards work. Okay, Ryan, what do you like about Love Letter?
It's very quick.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to transport.
Yes.
And artwork is awesome.
Yeah, it is very nice artwork. I'm also a fan of the fact that it is super small and portable. You can take this game anywhere. You can take it to a restaurant. You could play it in a hotel. We played it in the airport before and had a blast. It was funny. There were a couple people walking by, and you could tell they really wanted to ask us what we were doing, what we were playing, but they just didn't really have, the courage to come and figure out what it was all about. But it really is very versatile. Versatile and can be played anywhere. You're right. It is easy to teach and easy to learn. This game is a hit every time I played it, everywhere I played it. You can play this game with 7-year-olds, maybe even 6-year-olds if they're sharp. Once you learn the cards, and there's not that many to learn, the player aid tells you exactly what all of them do, tells you how many of each card are in the deck. Very helpful. So yeah, it's great. This game is really good. Jacob, what do you think about it? What do you like about the game?
I like that it's simple to learn and it's simple to teach.
Mm-hmm.
And it's simple to play also. And I also like that, in my opinion, it always makes other people laugh. From all of our other experiences, it makes other people laugh at least once or twice.
Yeah.
And
we've had some laugh out loud moments with this game.
Yeah.
Numerous laugh out loud moments. Something about how these cards play off of each other. It just creates situations that are highly entertaining. Jake, is there anything you don't like about this game?
Really, the only one that I didn't like is based off of that I really like Love Letter, and I wish more people could play. And that brings me to, I wish you could play with more people than 2 to 4 players.
Sure, yeah. That is kind of a limitation. But we're going to get to that in just a minute, aren't we?
Yeah.
We're going to address that. Yeah. Ryan, what do you think? Anything you don't like about this game?
I don't like that you can get eliminated from the round.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. I think the thing that it has going for it is the fact that if you are eliminated, you're not out for very long. The rounds in this game are relatively super quick. In fact, there's very rarely do we have a game with 4 players where we're comparing cards at the end. Typically, everybody gets knocked out and somebody wins the affection token and we're moving on to the next round. But I agree. Any game with player elimination it's kind of a bummer if you're the one that gets knocked out early. I kind of feel like that if this game is played too much, if you play this game every night or 2-3 times a week for an hour or so, I could see there being a chance of burning out on this game. I don't think that would necessarily happen with me or with our family because we have a pretty good variety of games, so we don't play it a lot. We would probably play it more if it was up to Jacob, but typically his mom vetoes that point. Something else I would mention about this game, it gets a lot of grief in the gamer community because it is super popular. Very, very popular. There's a ton of different versions of this game. I don't really understand that. I don't agree with the fact that it doesn't get more love. It does get love. Don't get me wrong. It is very popular. But the community tends to frown upon it just because it is so popular. I think you understand the situation I'm talking about. But I don't fall into that realm. I think if a game is good, you shout it to the rooftops. And this is one of those games. All right, Jacob, what would you give Love Letter for a rating?
I'd give it a fairly easy 8.5 to a 9.
Sure, yeah. And again, this is one of his favorites. I know that for sure. Jacob tends to forget sometimes if there's a long time, a big gap between times when we play any particular game, he will say things like, "Oh, I forgot how good this game was." This isn't the case. Jake typically suggests this game. He loves to play this game, so it's certainly at the top of his list. Ryan, what is your rating?
I am also going to go a 9.
Yeah, and I'm going to make it a clean sweep. I give it a 9 as well. For all the reasons that we've already talked about, this game is super amazing. Works anywhere, with anyone. Family friendliness rating, I would have to drop it a little bit to maybe a 7.5. And that's really only because there's a couple of cards where the costumes are, I don't know, some could call them inappropriate. It's period appropriate attire. I understand why they went this route, but some folks may have a little bit of an issue with that. So again, 7.5 for family friendliness. All right, Ryan, who do you think this game is good for?
It's really good for families and new gamers.
I would agree, and I think I would even take it a step further. Jake, you might agree with me. I think we've talked about this before. I can't think of anybody that this game would not work for. It's that good. It's that versatile. We've said it 100 times already. And that's pretty much it. That's Love Letter. We're going to go ahead and take a really quick break and set up Love Letter Premium, which is going to take us a few minutes, but for you guys, it's going to be as fast as a quick dissolve. Okay, guys, we are back with Love Letter Premium. We have put out here all of the new content and the upgraded components. The game does come with a full version of the base game, and then more cards and more rolls if you have a larger player count. So this is the same designer as before, Seiji Kanai, the same publisher, AEG, a larger player count, 2 to 8 players, same type of gameplay, works exactly the same, with the addition, like I said, of these newer cards and new effects. Differences in components. As opposed to cubes, we now have these excellent wooden heart tokens. These are much bigger than the cubes, and they are really, really good quality. The cards are larger. As I said, these are tarot-sized cards as opposed to standard poker-sized cards. And they are, and I mean, you really can't even call them cards. They're almost tiles, aren't they, Ryan? Mm-hmm. I mean, these things are super thick. Excellent, excellent quality. The game comes with sleeves for every card and extras. It's amazing what they've done with this. I mean, these are nice foil front, slide the cards in the front, and this is the back of the sleeves. Just amazing artwork on there. And what else do we have here? The rule book, really cool. I mean, they've gone above and beyond here. There is a backstory for the game. There is also a description of every character in the game and why they are motivated to do what they are doing in this game. Ridiculous amount of theme that they have tried to throw at this thing for being just such a small game, simple game that it is. All right, the rolls in this game are quite a bit different than in standard Love Letter. We have values of cards going from 0 all the way up to 9 now, as opposed to 1 to 8. And there's 2 different level 0 cards. One of them is the Assassin. Ryan, why don't you tell us what the Assassin does?
The Assassin, when somebody tries to play the guard on you, you play the Assassin, and now they are out of the round.
Yeah, I love that card. Mm-hmm. I love it. This other value 0 is the Jester. Jacob, how does the Jester work?
Whenever you play the Jester, you give another player of your choice a yellow token, mm-hmm. and what that says is that is your bet that person is going to win the round. And when you play that card and give the person of your choice the token, if that player wins the round, you get an affection token also.
Oh, yeah, I know. That's another really cool one. So then you've got 3 more guards. They have different artwork on them than in the base game. You have 2 cardinals. They're value 2. With the cardinal, you play it, and you choose 2 players, and they must swap cards, which is pretty cool. The Baroness is the value 3, 2 of those. And with the Baroness, you choose 1 or 2 other players, and you look at their hands secretly, which is great. The Sycophant, he's kind of a weird one. He's the value 4. When you play him, you choose another player. And from then on, the very next time somebody plays a card with an effect, that effect must be applied to the player that you chose when you played the Sycophant. So it's kind of complicated, interesting. Not my favorite card, but that's what he does. The value 5 is the Count. The Count is interesting. If you have the Count, when you play him, he has no effect. If he is in your discard pile at the end of the round, if you're still in the game at the end of the round and you're comparing cards, you can add 1 to the value of whatever card you're holding. So if you had a 3, it's, for all intents and purposes, a value 4. So that's pretty cool. The Constable, the value 6 card, if this card is in your discard pile and you are knocked out of the round, then you get an affection token by being knocked out, which is amazing. Number 7 is the Dowager Queen. With the Dowager Queen, when you play her, you choose another player, and then you secretly compare hands with that player, kind of like the Baron, only in this variant, when you play her, it's the person with the higher value card that is knocked out of the round. So if you had a 0 and the Dowager Queen, you play the Dowager Queen, you're almost guaranteed to be the one left standing. Very cool. And then finally, the Bishop, he is a value 9. Even though he is a value 9, if somebody has the princess in their hand at the end of the round, the princess still wins, even though it's an 8 as opposed to a 9. But with the Bishop, it's kind of like the guard, only instead of the person, if you guess correctly, them getting knocked out of the round, if you guess correctly, you get an affection token. So there you go. This game gives you a lot more ways to get these affection tokens, which is good because with a 5 to 8 player game, it can run on kind of long, maybe even outstay its welcome. So that's a welcome addition, just having more ways to do that. And that is the new roles and the new cards. In terms of likes and dislikes, I think it's going to be a lot of the same stuff here. I love the upgraded components. This is great. This is more Love Letter, which is really cool to me. The new roles are, for the most part, really, really good. It's just more Love Letter than before. And for that reason, I do love it. It's really good. Ryan, what do you think? What do you like about this new version, the premium edition?
The quality.
Yeah.
And the artwork on it is
through the roof.
Awesome.
Through the roof. I agree. Anything else?
No.
Okay. Jacob?
The things that I liked about Love Letter is that you get all sorts of new characters to go with the old ones. Mm-hmm. You get some exclusive sleeves that have some pretty good artwork on them.
Yep.
It fixes the small player count of original Love Letter.
That's a big one. Yeah.
And I do like that the size of the cards / tiles, whatever you want to call them, is much bigger. So that way, if someone has a bit of a problem with seeing small print, they have much better visual aid of what that looks like.
Are you saying I'm old?
No.
All right. And as far as dislikes, it's not as portable as the original game. It's quite a bit bigger. The box is bigger. But other than that, I really don't have too many gripes about it. Ryan, anything you don't like about this?
Like you said, the size of the box is pretty big. And you can only use the new cards in a 5 to 8 player game.
Yeah, and I think that's Jake's complaint, right?
Yeah, that's a big complaint for me because I like lots of people to play with lots of cards.
Yeah, so in the rules, the game suggests that if you're playing 2 to 4 players, you stick with the base set of cards, just the original cards from the original game. And only when you jump into the 5 to 8 player count do you use these new cards. And when we first saw that, we were kind of bummed out, right?
Yeah.
So what we did was we figured out a way to just swap out a few cards here and there. So we'll take out one of these value 5 cards and put the value 5 card from the original game in there. And one of the 3s, we'll take that out and put the 3s from the original game in there, or from premium in there. So we found ways to kind of do that, and that also adds some variety to the original game if you're playing 2 to 4 players. And we found that it works pretty well. We haven't found a way to break the game yet by doing that. There may be a way, but we just possibly haven't played it enough to find that flaw. But yeah, that kind of wraps it up for the dislikes and the likes for this one. All right, Ryan, does your suggestions on who this game is good for change with the premium edition?
Actually, it does.
Yeah? How so?
It's good for get-togethers, and it's good for smaller parties because it has a higher player count.
Right. It kind of turns it into a little bit more of a party game as opposed to the standard edition. I would agree with that. So yeah, and as far as a rating goes, I think my rating is going to stay the same. I'm sticking with a 9 out of 10 because while this is bigger, more love letter than there was before, excellent quality upgrades, it's still just love letter, and that's okay. It's not a bad thing. The value doesn't, or the rating doesn't drop at all. But I don't feel like this necessarily improves the game itself. It just gives you more of what you already love. How about you, Ryan? What do you think of the premium edition? What's your rating for this one?
I think it goes down to an 8.5.
Really? Why is that?
Because it has more limitations.
I understand. Yeah. I can agree with that. Jacob?
Yeah, I was also going to lower it down to maybe an 8 to an 8.5 because of, the size difference and the limitations that it has on the newer push of the game.
All right, guys, that wraps it up for Love Letter and Love Letter Premium. I will be leaving links in the description for places where you can pick up both of these excellent games. Guys, I think we agree. We highly recommend both of them. They are going to remain in our collection for a really long time, if not forever. And if you like what we're doing here, please take a minute to like this video, comment, and subscribe to our channel, please, if you do not mind. And also check out Gamer Thredz. I'm going to leave a link in the description for Gamer Thredz as well. That's a cool company owned by a really good friend of mine. He silkscreens t-shirts, and they're kind of geared towards the nerdy gamer culture, which to me is awesome. I love it. I have quite a few of the shirts myself. I think you'll like them, so go check that out as well. And we feel like if you're going to support us, you should get something back for that as well. So thank you very much for that. And thank you for watching. And as always, if you're bored together,
Bored together.
Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time. Okay, here we go. Come on.
Well,
Go! All right, we are back with what?
stop!
What's wrong with that kid? Something wrong with his head. Rocking it out.
Rim and raid.
What?
Rim and raid.
Say what now? What now?